Hello, I'm Chris, and this is CB Music Club. Evening, chaps. Let me introduce you. We've got Will.
Hello.
We've got Al.
Hiya.
And we've got Nick.
Hello.
And we got Chris.
Hello.
I knew that already.
Thanks, though. So, yes, here we are again. Our little special mini episodes, CB Singles Club, where we've taken a look at all the singles that were released this week being the week starting 15th of February 2021. And we've picked one each at random, and we're going to have a listen and see what we think. So, I think we'll start with Al. What's your choice for this week, Al?
I've gone for a song called When a Love's Not Around by Leighton Kramer. Let's listen.
Let's do that. Leighton Kramer.
Yeah, Leighton Kramer, he is a Canadian singer-songwriter from Alberta, I think. His music has been described as experimental folk with a touch of alternative psychedelic influence. He said about this song that it's an ode to friends, an appreciation for having people to lean on and help you out when you're feeling down. Paired with fun guitars, lush background vocals and bendy pedal steel, it's supposed to feel like a warm, fuzzy hug. And I think it does, quite honestly. I really like this. I think it's lovely. Love the sentiment of it.
Yeah.
That it doesn't matter if you don't have a love in your life, that you got your friends and they'll be there for you. And I think, considering it was released on Valentine's Day, I think it's a lovely sentiment for the song. I went for this because looking at the cover and the name of the song's on, I thought it was going to be really sort of twee pop, maybe in a sort of Belle and Sebastian mold, which it's clearly not. Although it's not a million miles away from that. It's more sort of old country, I suppose, but it's got a very sort of 60s vibe to it. I really like it. I mean, I love the lead guitar at the start with the tremolo on it is just like fantastic. It's just a warm, lovely, a warm fuzzy hug is what it is. The only thing I don't really like is that middle eight where the drums get panned to one side and the bass drops out. I think that's unnecessary attempt to create interest. I mean, so what? The song doesn't need it, but it's still a fab song. There's a nice touch in the video at the end as well, where it has all the credits of all the people who've worked on it scroll across the screen.
I saw that, loved it.
It's really in keeping with the whole feel of the song. I just thought it's really good. So a huge thumbs up for this for me. I think it's a great song.
I really did like it in the same manner. It had a little bit of Mama and Papa's in there, which will always go down well with me. I love the backing vocals. I don't think there's enough work gone into backing vocals in these modern times, but they were really lovely.
I agree.
Yeah.
I love big harmonies.
Yeah.
Even though modern pop music is all singing, there's
not enough harmony.
Yeah.
Well, it's not enough harmony. It's that sort of different people contributing to the harmonies as well, rather than it just being the singer harmonising in themselves.
Yeah.
You're right, Will. It's a nice thing.
And I thought it was a steel slide guitar at the end, but that was a really nice little Easter egg at the end, little present. I like that. No, good.
Nick, what did you think?
I loved it as well, actually.
I knew you'd like this one.
Yeah. And you know, it's funny because I looked at the list and that was the image, the cover I homed in on as well. And then Al picked it. And I have to go and find something else.
That wise old fox.
A wise old fox, yeah. I was expecting the same thing that Al expected. I was expecting twee indie pop. And again, it's not that. It's twee Canadian pop.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
I guess. But it was great. There's the whole colourful video.
Yeah, it's nice.
And when the credits rolled at the end, I've never seen that before, and I thought that's absolutely brilliant. Totally in keeping. Lovely touch. Mm-hmm. Really nice. Yeah.
I'd have to agree, I think, with all of you. The warm hug comparison does it very well. It's a joyous little song. The only thing I didn't quite like was his voice. It sounded like he had a thick cold when he was singing. He almost sounded like Harry Hill, weirdly. Musically, it all did come together in that kind of, it just hit that kind of sonic sweet spot where there's some deep kind of comforting audio buzz that comes off of it. So, yeah, likes that a lot. Like that a lot. Good choice.
Do you know, amazing coincidence. I was watching Harry Hill's TV Burp Gold just before we started tonight.
Ah.
Spooky.
That is spooky.
Yeah.
But there is nothing else on telly, is there? So it's not that surprising.
I was watching it on YouTube even.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what my life's come to. Yeah.
We're off to a strong start then. Next one on my list, I've got Nick's choice, I think, if you want to tee that one up for us, Nick.
After Al stole my first choice, I thought, well, I'm going to search for something else twee and indie looking on the list, and I came up with Birdie with a song called Loneliness. The picture of the single has picture of this girl lying on a sofa looking like she's hanging out in a sort of Carole King tapestry kind of way in some room with lots of interesting windows. And I thought that's looking pretty twee and indie.
Very fitting, as this week is the 50th anniversary of Tapestry's release as well.
Absolutely. So Birdie and Loneliness.
Something in the air's got me feeling you're here again. And I was missing the dark, but now you're here again. Watching the clock and falling asleep on us. Oh, I've been losing my mind in these sweet dreams of love.
So, what do we know about Birdie, Nick?
Birdie is an English singer, songwriter, and musician. She's from Hampshire, and I think she won a talent contest when she was 12 in 2008, and subsequently did a record where she covered a Bon Iver song and got picked up and has had a huge amount of success, including being nominated for Best British Female Solo Artist for the Brits in 2014. She's had overall over 1 billion streams on Spotify. This girl is big time, actually. This is from her fourth album. I've never even heard of her. I think what this actually...
It's certainly under my radar.
What this actually shows me is that I am so far out of touch that I can look at a list of new singles and not recognise somebody that has been streamed over 1 billion times. And it's just remarkable.
You're not alone there, because I don't think any of us... Had any of us heard of Birdie?
I'd heard of Birdie, yeah. I'm not sure where from. I'm sure I've heard some stuff before.
What's interesting, I think, as I read through a couple of online, a Wikipedia page and something else online, I'm picking up that she has worked with a lot of well-known artists. She's covered some very famous artist songs. I think I read somewhere, it doesn't say in her Wikipedia page, but somewhere that she's been nominated for Grammys as well as other awards, and so clearly has been collaborating with lots of interesting people. Apparently she writes songs, she plays all sorts of stuff, so she's clearly a talented girl in her early 20s.
Good. What did you think of it then?
Do you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
And when I was thinking back to listening to Rumours, which we'd all done, and sort of there was a slight Rumours vibe for me. I quite liked it, I think. It didn't excite me, but yeah, I quite liked it.
Will, what did you reckon?
There's a little bit of Four Tops in there for me.
Really?
Yeah,
Whereabouts?
right at the beginning, there's a couple of arpeggio note sequence that is a little bit out of Still Waters Run Deep. Yeah, it was a bit of a nothingy song, but it was exceptionally well done. But the one thing I really didn't like about it, and this is me being a kind of grumpy old man, was the treatment, and which I think was reverb on the snare. It really annoyed me. But yeah, decent enough song.
Al, what you got?
When I listened to this earlier, the note that I started with was saying, I'm not sure who this is aimed at. Nick has nailed it for me, because I was thinking it sounds like sort of 70s bands, stuff that they've done in the 80s. And yes, it sounds like the sort of thing that Fleetwood Mac would have put out in the middle of the 80s. And I think that that's who it's aimed at. Is the kids got quite into Fleetwood Mac, didn't they? And I can't see where else this is coming from, because it's really bland. The chorus has got way too many words in it. It's got a really weak melody, and I just, it's not a very good pop song. It's not terrible, it's not offensive, but actually its inoffensiveness is perhaps its biggest crime. It's almost not noticeable. I don't like her mannered sort of vocal delivery either. Found that a bit off-putting, but I don't see how someone who's 24 years old can be making music that's this middle-aged.
It was very, very, very conventional, wasn't it? It was very, very forgettable. You know, I think I've probably listened to it 3 times now in the last hour, and I can't remember it. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just, I don't know. It's the sort of song that makes Dido sound interesting.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's going to hurt.
Well, Dido's a better singer and has stronger melodies
Well,
and
yeah,
worse songs, but you still remember them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unmemorable, I think, is the best I could say for it.
Yeah, you're right. Could any of you sing it back to me at the moment?
No.
Yeah, that's it.
Sorry, I wasn't a fan. I mean, good luck for her. Clearly,
Yeah.
many millions of people would disagree, but
Yeah,
Birdie's not one for me, I'm afraid.
she's doing great, and we're not going to derail her career. So
No, absolutely
Good luck
not.
to her.
But she's doing that well that I'm going to check her website out just in case there's some decent merchandise. There must be, surely.
Yeah.
It was very po-faced as well. I think I get the impression she's quite a serious person, or takes her songwriting very, very, very seriously.
I find the kids these days are very serious people, Chris. It's like we're a generation who never grew up, and they've grown up too early.
Maybe that's it. She's a serious singer for these serious
Yeah.
times.
We're not serious enough. That's the problem. It's our fault.
Loneliness is a serious issue.
There's that too, yeah.
Absolutely.
But I mean, she's got 1 billion listeners, so she's not lonely, is she?
Maybe that makes her feel more lonely, knowing there's 1 billion people out there listening, but she can't speak to them except through her songs. So lonely.
That could be quite terrifying, knowing that there are 1 billion people listening to you.
Or there's one person who's listened 1 billion times. That'd be even more terrifying.
And he's just outside your front door.
So you don't have to feel lonely.
Anyway, thank you, Birdie. So, Will, you've happened upon a little-known band that you'd never previously come across. Do you want to tell us a little bit about this new discovery of yours?
Yeah, sorry, I wrote it down so that I say it properly. The Fratellis, and I think they come out of Glasgow. Anyway, I kind of thought, well, who are these jokers? I'll give them a listen to, which is what I did. And now the truth is, I had heard the name, but to be honest, I couldn't remember any of the work that they ever done. So I kind of thought, well, yeah, they're new to me right here, right now. The new song they pulled out, Need a Little Love. See what you think. See what you hear.
Bring it on. Here we go.
Oh, you could see through all of my charades. Now you're out there. Every day your love just fades. Need a little love, I won't say no. Need a little love, I won't say no. Need a little love, I won't say no. Need a little love, I won't say no to you. Need a little love, I won't say no. Need a little love, I won't say no. Need a little love, I won't say no. Need a little love, I won't say no to you.
The Fratellis. So what have you found out about the Fratellis, Will?
Not too much. I looked at the T-shirt that's been produced for the release of their album, and I like that. I might buy that. Good bit of merchandise in there.
Always about the merchandise. Are you aware of a tune called Chelsea Dagger?
I might, but nothing comes to me at this moment in time. Who are these jokers?
Can you sing
then?
it to us, Chris?
Da 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 da. It
Is
goes
that-
on like
is
that
that
for about
them?
3 minutes.
Oh,
That's Fratellis,
Chelsea,
yeah.
Chelsea, da-do-ba-do-da. That's their.
Damn.
That was their big hit, I think.
and when was that big hit out?
2005-ish.
So
I
have
think.
they not been doing much for a long time? Is this coming back into the biz, or have they been putting stuff out regularly?
I don't think they've ever been away, but I just don't think they've ever really hit the heights of that early couple of tunes that they had. It did very well among sort of football fans, didn't it? That tune, isn't it? A coming onto the pitch tune for probably Chelsea, I suppose, isn't it?
Was that not named for the singer's wife? Was she not a burlesque performer called Chelsea Dagger?
No idea.
I think that might be the story.
I like that story better than Chelsea. I honestly didn't know that much about them, but I think I probably do remember that song now.
Anyway, I wouldn't have recognised it. Had I heard that song without knowing it was the Fratellis, I wouldn't have linked that with the band that made Chelsea Dagger.
I think it's clear that the band had a bit of fun with it. There's a little bit of Four Seasons in there, maybe in the bass playing. I kind of enjoyed it. If I have my grumpy old man voice on, which I seem to have on tonight, again, the way the sound had been treated on the strings made it too sugary and too horribly. They should have stripped that back a bit, made it slightly rawer. So yeah, the strings ruined it a little bit for me. But generally, I kind of liked it.
It seemed like the sort of thing you'd like, if you ask me. You know, it's got that kind of soul vibe. It's obviously,
Yes.
it's borrowing
Yeah.
from soul music of the 60s, and it's the sort of thing that I would
Definitely,
think that,
yeah.
if done well, Will would like it, because that's his cup of tea, isn't it? That sort of soul music. The sweet soul music.
Definitely would drink it all day.
Tell you, the first thing I thought watching the video was, oh, that's Edinburgh, because it starts with a shot of the bottom end of Buccleuch Street.
It's Leith Theatre, isn't it?
Yeah, looking lovely, if I may say.
What did you think of the tune, Al?
Well, I thought it was all right. I mean, I'm with Will on it. It's got a nice sort of soul music feel to it. Actually, the song it reminded me of was "You to Me Are Everything," The Real Thing. It's got that kind of feel to it in the chorus.
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
it's not as good as that,
Very nice.
obviously.
Well spotted.
It's not a patch on that, but you know, it's a nice song with a nice sentiment. I didn't really like the brass in it. I thought it sounded a bit cheap, to be quite honest. Yeah, it was all right. I won't be rushing out to buy it,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I wouldn't turn it off if I heard it, you know.
Yeah, I found it kind of catchy in an irritating way. Felt a bit like a Eurovision Song Contest entry. In that kind of, kind of instant there in your face, but also just a bit irritating.
Yeah,
But,
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I don't know. I found it very surprising that this is what the Fratellis have turned into, because they were kind of... I mean, I was never a great fan of them, but my memory of them from 15 years ago is they were a sort of spiky, noisy, punky, kind of brawling sort of band. And then to find that they've had all the kind of rough edges polished off them and they're just churning out fairly anodyne soul tunes is quite surprising. Didn't expect this is where they'd be at this point.
Yeah, I hadn't followed their career beyond those first singles and the first album, and so didn't realise they were still going.
They've sort of turned into Wet, Wet, Wet a bit, haven't they?
Yeah, I kind of liked it for the same reasons that Alan Will have said. It was, bouncy enough tune, and it did remind me of You to Me Are Everything. I can't help liking a band that has a drummer called Mince as well. So.
Yes.
Is it MINCE or MINTS?
No,
CE.
the first.
Yeah, I like that
That
too.
is good, yeah.
Mince
So
I
I
wouldn't
also
like, but-
I want to support Scottish pop as well. I want it to be good because I like Scottish pop and I want the Scottish pop bands to do well.
Right, moving on. My random choice of the week is a chap called Yolk Lore and his song Safety Undressed. Goes a little bit like this.
I'll be your safety if you'll be my safety. Soon I will try to fly out and leave you. Please don't believe me until I waste my feet. And I don't want to tell you now.
So Yolk Lore's from Brooklyn, otherwise known as Adrian Galvin. Been in a few bands before, Yellikin, Walk the Moon. Just under 3 million monthly listeners on Spotify, and his biggest track has 73 million hits. So someone's listening to him. It's growing on me. I've listened to it a few times now. Kind of like the way it builds towards the end. Find his voice a little bit annoying. It's a little bit bland. I think it doesn't really... there's bits of sort of Bon Iver in there maybe, but it just doesn't really hit home hard enough for me, I don't think. Yeah, a bit whiny, I thought his voice was.
Know who's a grumpy old man?
I've never denied being a grumpy old man. What did you think, Al?
Largely what you thought. I hated it when I stuck it on.
I didn't hate it.
It's like 3 minutes in the first minute. I thought, I hate this. Can't stand the guy's voice. It's really bland. But then, in the middle, it's like, not so bad. And like that last minute, it's actually quite good. As you say, it builds very pleasingly to a nice sort of conclusion. It's not epic, but, it does quite a good job. It reminded me somewhat of Disarm by the Smashing Pumpkins without nearly so much drama. But it's just the acoustic guitar. It's, the same sort of... the way it drives it along is quite similar. It's not that good, though. Again, I didn't like his voice, didn't like his singing voice, and that's a thing. You know, such a modern pop music cliche.
Doesn't really work.
It's just horrible. I find it really off-putting. It was okay, right?
Will.
Ask Nick first.
Nick.
I liked it. You know, it didn't thrill me, but I did like, as you say, the way it built. It actually reminded me very much of an album from a couple of years ago that I really liked by a New Zealand artist called Paul Williams. The sound was not dissimilar to that, including the vocal stylings. So maybe I'd kind of got used to it from that, which I was a bit unsure about on that album, but just generally the quality of that record had kind of won me over. So when I heard this, it did remind me, and the synth thing kind of appealed. Yeah, no, I'm on side with that.
Will, are you ready for us yet?
I really liked it. I mean, I'm a bit of a fool for those little sort of chromatic progressions that people put into songs that kind of tie it together. Oh, I liked it.
Jolly good. Well, that was Yolk Lore.
Yeah.
So we've rattled through our 4 quite quickly
have.
tonight, haven't we? And I think we'll go with ours suggested in a shameless effort to try and boost our listenership. We've lobbed in a release from
Somebody famous.
a more better-known artist. So this week we've gone with Taylor Swift's release of the week,
We should
is
alert everybody that we're going to play Taylor Swift every week.
Yeah, every
We're
week.
going to discuss Taylor Swift every week. This is what we call Taylor Swift Corner.
So this is her. I'm not familiar with Taylor Swift's back catalogue, but I understand that she's re-recorded her first #1 album, and this is her new version of Love Story, which, as far as I can tell, sounds exactly the same as the original version of Love Story. I haven't listened to them both today, but we'll talk about why she's done it afterwards. But this is Love Story by Taylor Swift, Taylor's version.
And I said, Romeo, take me somewhere we can be alone. I'll be waiting. All there's left to do is run. You'll be the prince and I'll be the princess. It's a love story, baby, just say yes. So ask me.
So Taylor's version. So she's done that to reclaim rights to her back catalogue, one song at a time, after it's been
Stolen from her.
stolen from her. I wasn't aware of Love Story the first time around. I don't think I could name any Taylor Swift songs.
I used to be like that.
Used to.
Clearly she's very talented. And yeah, fully deserving control over her own back catalogue, certainly. So good luck to her for doing this.
I think the way that she's been treated over her song rights is absolutely appalling, and I'm very much on her side over this. I think that if an artist is able to can afford to buy the rights to the songs, they should have a legal right to do so. And I like her reaction of going out and recording the stuff again, so that, you know, just go and buy it. It sounds like the original.
Yeah.
Go and buy it. I'm very much on her side over this. I quite like the song. Like you, Chris, I used to think that I didn't know any Taylor Swift songs. I then had to learn to play Shake It Off, to play in the wedding band.
Which is a great song.
It's a
Awesome.
pretty catchy song, actually. Yeah, it was nice. My guitar in it sounded amazing, as you could probably imagine, perhaps disbelieve, one of those. But
I can
yeah,
imagine
it's-
that's exactly how you described it, yes.
Yeah, it's quite a good song as well. And it turned out, you know, I knew this song, I just didn't know it was Taylor Swift. And I've heard other songs of hers since that, like, oh yeah, I know that song. I didn't know that was Taylor Swift.
Well, I liked it. I was sort of, and I do that a lot with Taylor Swift songs. I was air drumming away. And in fact, if Taylor Swift came round here asking if, you know, I'd go out with her, I'd say, I can't do that, but since Dave Grohl didn't get back to me, I'll drum for you, Taylor, if you want it.
That song was what released today. It's had 14.5 million streams on Spotify already.
Wow.
She's a very popular woman. I quite like her. She seems all right. Yeah, I'm glad she's out there. I'm glad she's fighting the power about the song rights. It does take someone famous to do it, to sort of bring that sort of thing to people's attention, to how badly songwriters and performers are actually treated by the industry. And the fact that it's one of the very biggest in the entire industry who's having this trouble, it gives me a very, very slight hope that it might change. I mean, it probably won't, but at least she's trying.
Let's wrap this up. Track of the week. What's your favourite?
My track of the week. I'm going to go for, just to annoy Al, I'm going for Yolk Lore.
I chose a song at random. It's not like I chose it because I thought you'd like it.
Go on then, Al. What was yours?
Oh, mine's definitely Leighton Kramer, When a Love's Not Around. I think it's a fab song. I think the rest of it, everything else is all right, but this is genuinely good. I'm going to go and listen to his album.
Will.
Yeah, I think for me, Leighton Kramer just edges it. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to go for Leighton Kramer as well. It had that warmth which I thought Yolk Lore was lacking. So you can find all our playlists on Spotify and on YouTube, along with our podcast. So give them a listen. Subscribe and like. And we'll see you next time for CB Music Club. Till then, cheerio.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, bye.
Bye.